It's the Brad and John Show.
It is, and it is Tuesday, November 26th. This is C Block. John, there was something I remember what we forgot to talk about yesterday. Let's not forget it. The Patrick Mahomes fine. Okay, tell the story.
Yeah, so thanks to our friend Tony Bateo at Tony'sKansasCity.com. He had this up a couple days ago when the Chiefs played the Buffalo Bills. Gosh, I guess that would have been last week. Patrick Mahomes, after a touchdown, did a finger gun, like the old finger gun thing, and was fined by the NFL. I don't have it in front of me, Brad, but I believe it was $14,069. Nice. $14,069 for doing a finger gun reference, Brad, because it's violent, and you can't do simulated violence after scoring a touchdown.
John, we talked about this yesterday. We teased this yesterday. NFL no longer stands for National Football League. It stands for No Fun League. I mean,
the No Fun League. And here's the thing, Brad. All of a sudden once you have an athlete doing finger guns, that kid's going to go out and he's going to buy a handgun and he's going to do bad things with it. I don't know what Patrick Mahomes was thinking.
As a kid, and you're much younger than I am, as a kid, we played Army all the time. We played war all the time, and we bought plastic guns at the toy stores, which I don't even know if you can buy. Can you buy toy guns anymore? You got young kids.
Yeah, you can, but you know what? They have to have, they're very brightly colored so they don't resemble real guns.
Right, or they have to have an orange thing on the barrel that defines them as being a toy gun. Okay, why in the world? I mean, once again, why would the NFL do that? I mean, I saw the picture. You sent me the thing, and he's just doing hey, man, we shot that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, because here's the thing. So think of the pushback they would have got from the moms who don't get action crowd, or moms demand action, whatever their name is. Moms who don't get action crowd would have been like,
we think it's terrible that they're glorifying gun culture.
I don't know.
Let me say, too, what I haven't seen brought up in this, and maybe it was in some of the follow-up coverage here, but Patrick Mahomes went to Texas Tech, okay, which is in the beautiful city of Lubbock, a city I love and used to visit quite often for work. And at Texas Tech, Brad, their team rallying cry is guns up. So they did it as response to University of Texas does hook 'em horns.
Right.
So Texas Tech did guns up. So they have you put your finger pistols in the air. That's the Texas Tech catchphrase. So I'm sure Patrick Mahomes has been doing this since he was a freshman at Texas Tech. You get what I'm saying?
I do. And I've heard that story before, too. It's funny you just mentioned that because I did hear that. Do they still do that at Texas Tech?
Yeah. Well, you're not going to tell a guy in Lubbock that he can't do finger pistols.
Well, they just told Patrick Mahomes he can't do finger pistols.
That's true. That's true. But you're not going to tell fans at AT&T Stadium in Lubbock that they can't do a finger gesture. They might pull out their real guns in the parking lot.
See, once again, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Matter of fact, this Tom Homan guy, man, has this guy been getting some news, and to the point where darn well the ICE agents, all these guys who work the border, they're going okay, finally, we can be proud of our job again. Don't you think they're thinking that?
Yes, absolutely, Brad. But again, let's go back to what Eric Schmidt was talking about on Meet the Press. This guy is your favorite word lately, Brad, disruptor. This guy's a disruptor, right?
Well, but see, already it came out this morning that Trump's come out and said, okay, 25% tariff on anything from Mexico, from Canada. We're tired of getting your illegal immigrants. We're tired of all this drug stuff, mainly from the southern border. And you know what? Get it straightened out. I said it all along. I give my crazy example. Okay, let's say there are a group of disgruntled Canadian citizens, and let's say there were 2,000 of them, and let's say they came across the border in Minnesota. And they walked in a group of 2,000, disgruntled Canadians. They're saying, we're all going to Mexico, okay? So how far do you think they would get in the United States before the state police would show up and say, okay, what are you, 2,000 people doing walking down I-35? You're not supposed to be on the interstate. Where are you guys from? Where are you going?
They get about 3/4 of a mile, Brad.
Right, but yet we've got this situation where thousands, millions of immigrants can come from the southern border of Mexico. And I did this one time before. I think I did this with you, or maybe I did it back in the old day with Shelley, where sometimes people don't realize the geography. And I think I figured out that if you come from the southern border of Mexico to the northern border of Mexico, it would be like walking from Denver to Washington, D.C., which
Yeah,
is...
people don't understand how far that is.
We're talking, if someone said, hey, would you like to walk from Denver to Washington, D.C.? And you go like, what? I don't think I'd want to drive that. You know what I mean? Because I love to drive. I would drive at New York Minute. But once again, Denver's on I-70. D.C. is technically on I-70. Technically, it used to be on I-70, but I don't think it's not anymore. That's a whole nother topic of discussion. But why did nobody stop them? I mean, what are you doing? Where are you guys going? And once again, they're camping out at night, and the crazy thing about this is, let's say they're coming through Missouri and they're coming from, they come down, let's say through Hannibal. They're
63. They come down 63.
Right.
Or 61. Let's say 61.
They're coming down. Okay, they would hit Hannibal if they were on 61 coming along, the Mississippi River coast there. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? They'd come along the eastern border of Missouri. If they came down 63, they'd come down through Moberly. They'd come down through Columbia, through Jefferson City. Nobody's going to say, okay, where are you 2,000 Canadians going? Well, we're going to Mexico. So, and then when they got down to the Mexican and United States border, this would be interesting to watch. 2,000 people show up and the Border Patrol goes, okay, where are you guys going? We're going to Mexico. No, you're not. Matter of fact, there was a guy who worked here in St. Louis, and he turned into a very high profile. At the time, he wasn't really doing talk radio. He was doing like music radio. I can't remember his name, but he ended up at some really high profile talk stations. He turned to a talk show host. He worked at WBAP in Dallas, which at the time, I don't know if it still is, was one of the big talk stations down in Dallas. And he did some interesting stuff where he snuck across the border from the United States into Mexico, and at one point in time almost ended up in jail in Mexico. Go like, okay, let's think about this for a minute.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why I've got a volunteer group that I'm a member of up in Mid Rivers Mall, and we keep people from crossing over into Mexico Road. We're organized by the EDC. I think we mentioned before, we're called Scott Squad. There's a great leader out there called Scott Drachnick. He's best known for putting people in their places at luncheons. But when he's not putting people in their places, like little smart Alex, who make smart Alex statements. But Scott Squad, we keep people from crossing the Mexico Road border, Brad. That's how we keep the Westplex so clean. Westplex was invented, by the way, by some radio station guy. I don't know who came up with it. But anyway, yeah, so I'm a member of Scott Squad, and we protect people from crossing over Mexico, but Mexico Road.
Boy, if Scott Drachnick listens, and I know he doesn't, but for some reason...
I can tag him on Twitter, Brad. I bet we'll get a response.
He won't respond. He's not like Bill Eigel where I call him, Now, here's the other thing. We should start doing that with Mike Elam, because Mike's a good-hearted guy. If I started calling, hey, Mike, because I'll say it right up front. I will be up front and say this, Mike, flag this part of the tape. Matter of fact, in the old days, you know what that really meant when they said flag the tape?
No, what did it flag? How would you flag it?
Okay, in the old days, as you were recording a show, you had the tape going from one side of the reel to the other. You would take a little piece of paper and you would tear it and you would put it in the take-up reel. You had the supply reel, which was on the left, and you had the take-up reel, and would go through the heads and record and end up on the take-up reel on the right. You would take a little piece of tape and you would put it like a little piece of paper, and you would stick it in the tape as the tape would roll around. So when you rewound the tape, you knew exactly where to rewind to.
Interesting. I like that.
This was previous to as the tape recorders, the professional recorders got more advanced. They actually had a digital, a locator on them where you could actually hit like numbers. You could, like, we used to use MCIs, and they had like 4 presets. You could hit button number 1. It would take you that position on the tape. Anything. That's what that meant. Okay, but flag the tape. What was I talking about with flag the tape? I can't remember.
Mike Elam.
Okay, I am a Mike Elam guy. Bill Eigel, sorry, if you run for county council, my vote's going to be for Mike Elam. I'll tell you that right up front, because here's the thing I will say right up front about Mike Elam. He's got his sights set on county council. He's a St. Charles County guy, not originally from here. Once again, he's a guy that was born and raised in Arkansas. He's lived in a couple places around the country. He knows a good thing when he has it, and he knows a good thing in St. Charles County. He's proud of the fact that he's part of St. Charles County. He works for a company in St. Charles County. He's a county council person. He's dedicated to the job of being county executive, as opposed to Bill Eigel, who's like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I may run for president. I may run I may take Putin's job, I mean, at least we have someone who's willing to come out and say, this is what I'm going to do. And you know what? That's what my sights are set on, and I have a definitive goal, and I'm going to try to attain that goal. I mean, don't you think that's something to be lauded?
Mike Elam hasn't announced yet, right?
I know he has. He's telling everybody who listens.
But he made a public announcement about it.
Oh, yeah, he talks about it all the time.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's a new piece of information to me. I didn't know that. I thought that they were both kind of saying, hey, let's get into 2026, and then we'll announce, and then we'll talk about it. So I thought they were on par there. I will say, Brad, how proud I am of the fact that I remember just a few short months ago on this very show, you had an imaginary beef with Mike Elam for a while because you said that he wouldn't call you back. And now that imaginary beef, you have seen that it doesn't exist, and it never existed, right?
No, I didn't say that about Mike Elam, did I?
You absolutely said it, because I saw Mike Elam on primary day, Brad, and I remember I didn't even bring it up. Because the previous week you had said, Mike Elam's mad at me. He's not returning my calls. He won't talk to me. He won't call me back. And I was like, we're having a great night. Should I bring this up with Mike Elam? No, I won't. Anyway, I'm glad to see that imaginary beef is gone, Brad.
I'm looking at his thing right now. Matter of fact, I'm looking on westplex.com, and I'm looking at join westplex.com. I'm looking at about Elam. He's vice president of community affairs and market development at I3 Broadband. Dedicated.
He hasn't announced yet. He hasn't announced that he's running it.
I'm pretty sure he has.
No, he hasn't. Why don't you text him and ask him?
Okay, here. Hold on a minute.
Because he hasn't. We would know, Brad.
Hold on a minute, John. John's going to get mad at me for doing this, but
oh, God, are you calling him?
Yeah, I'm going to call him. Of course I didn't call him. Come on, you got mad at me when I called Bill Eigel.
And Bill answered. You're right,
and then,
Brad. You're right about that.
And then you complimented. You said it was a great call, right?
It was a great call.
Okay.
You did a great job. That's true.
Hold on a minute. Okay, let's see if Mike will answer here. because we should give him equal treatment. If we call Bill Eigel on the phone,
Fair.
we should call
That's
Mike
true.
Elam on the phone. Okay, hold on a minute.
Hey, Brad, what's up?
Mike, you're on the air right as we speak. Is that okay with you?
That's okay with me.
John and I are having a debate. I say you have officially announced for St. Charles County executive, and he says you have not. Which of the two of us are right?
So I would ask John, what do I need to officially do in John's book to agree that I have officially announced? What needs to happen there?
Okay, that's all
He needs to say, here's what he needs to say. He needs to say on this show right now that he is running for St. Charles County executive.
You can't hear. You can't hear.
Officially, I did hear. I heard him bleeding through. So I am officially on this show right now announcing I am a candidate for St. Charles County executive in the August 26th race. How's that?
Mike, I complimented you on that because of the fact that I said, if you want to listen to the show, you can listen to this segment back on our podcast. I said I have a great deal of respect for you because you are focused on St. Charles County. You've been a citizen of St. Charles County for a long time. You are moving forward, and you have your eyes laser focused on being the county executive. And I think that is much better than that Bill Eigel guy who doesn't know what he wants to do. Remember what I'm saying?
Well, I appreciate that. I am on my way right now to the MoDOT transportation update to talk about roads and transportation all around the St. Louis region, including St. Charles County, which, by the way, just got the largest MoDOT contract ever in the history of our state.
Is that for the section of 70 from Lake St. Louis out west? Is that what that is?
It's actually 4 projects that run from Highway K and 4064, and then runs up to the 4070 interchange, and then runs all the way out past David Hochul Parkway on I-70. There are 4 projects that are getting rolled into one, and that's why it turned out to be an over $600 million project.
Wow. Well, Mike, I appreciate you answering the phone, and I am glad, and I've said it on the air earlier this morning, if you want to listen to this show, I am in your corner. I'm 100% supporting you for St. Charles County Executive. How's that for me pledging my allegiance to you?
I appreciate that. I hope one day I can get John on board, and I appreciate that John is a Bill Eigel fascination guy and loves to look at what Bill Eigel is going to do in his career, and I appreciate that. But I don't think anybody can officially be a candidate until the end of February in 26. Otherwise, we're just talking.
Okay, but you have officially gone on record as saying you're in.
As official as I can be in that avenue, whatever it is to be quote unquote official, but my hat is in the race for county executive, and I'm all in.
Mike,
hey Brad, thank Mike. Pretend that you listened to Mike on Reardon's spot yesterday, and thank Mike for mentioning you.
I don't know if you heard it, but he, I'm supposed to thank you for you mentioning me on Reardon's show yesterday.
By all means, I had Chad Perkins on, who's the incoming Speaker Pro Temp of the Missouri House, who is another radio guy. And I said, Brad Hildebrand will be proud that I'm promoting another radio guy on the radio.
We have to stick together, don't we, Mike? Right? You know, because you know what they say: old radio people never die. We just smell that way. Remember?
That's very true. I appreciate it, man.
Okay, talk to you later. Bye.
See you.
John hates it when I make phone calls, but they always turn out great, don't you think,
well,
John?
I'd say you're on a streak, Brad. You're 2 for 2. It's pretty good. Hey, I'm glad that Mike confirmed that because I still stick with the fact that I hadn't heard an official announcement, Brad. But we got it. We got it live on the air today.
You can't be any more official than that, John. It's been a blast. Have a good day.
You too, Brad.
Thanks for checking out the Brad and John Show podcast. This segment of the show is brought to you by John Combest's book, Stalking, Harassment, Internet Trolling, A Guide to Recovering and Rebuilding After Online Attacks. It's a great reference if you've ever been the unfortunate target of a social media attack. It's available on Amazon. Just search John Combest. That's Combest, John Combest, and the book will show up in your search results. Now it's time for another segment of the Brad and John Show. Can you handle it?